Hello, adventurers. Farmer Troy today with a special day. Today is Tintin's 91st birthday. Happy birthday, Tintin. And Snowy and Captain. Well, Captain's not quite 91 yet. I don't remember the year that the Captain Haddock showed up, but Tintin discovered the Captain. He was a drunk, and Tintin saved his life. All the way up to the Adventures of Tintin movie, I have been a fan of Tintin since 1975, when I first discovered these albums here at my local library in Pittsburgh, the West End branch of the library. And I've been reading them ever since I was a child. As an adult, I purchased the entire collection, including some rare ones that are no longer politically correct, and you can't even get these in English anymore. And I also introduced them to my daughter, who is now going to be 30 years old soon. So Tintin has been with me my whole life. And doesn't he look great for 91 years old? I think so. So going back in time, the very first Adventures with Tintin was when he was a reporter in the land of the Soviets for this newspaper, this magazine. And I don't speak French, so I'm going to give it my best try, but I know I'll butcher it. Les Petits Vintons. This is the Les Edition du Petit. I think that means it's a small edition. And these were from Brussels, Belgium. That's where Tintin originated. And they were written by Hergé. So, Hergé is no longer with us. But let's see. I'm sure that I can find a picture of him. There he is. I do believe that he passed away in the 1980s. But the first adventure, Tintin sets out with Snowy, his beloved trusty dog, for Soviet Russia, to report for his newspaper and battle the Bolsheviks. Tintin in the Land of the Soviets, which is this book right here. You can see, very simple. This is how Tintin first looked 91 years ago today. So he definitely evolved over time. I always liked the drawings of cars and buildings and the architecture, and Tintin was always on an adventure. So this book came out in January 1929, and today it is January the 10th of 2020. So you can see this is a very interesting book that shows you some of the inspirations that Hergé would be influenced by as he was writing these series of albums over the years. If I'm not mistaken, I think it would be safe to say that Tintin, as you say it in French, might have been the first graphic novel. I think he might have been. You can see right here. By the way, I actually saw this very book, although it was a hardcover and it was a better edition, in the Andy Warhol Museum last night. I was there for a special talk, and it was actually autographed and personalized to Andy Warhol from Hergé. But the albums came out in this order: The Blue Lotus, Tintin in America, Cigars of the Pharaoh, Tintin and the Broken Ear, The Black Island, King Ottokar's Scepter, The Crab, with the golden claws, the shooting star, the secret of the unicorn, Red Rackham's treasure. And these two actually were the inspiration behind the movie that Steven Spielberg and Peter Jackson put out a few years ago. Now, there's been talk for many years that they will continue and make a second movie by Tintin, about Tintin, but it hasn't come to fruition yet. So where were we? The Seven Crystal Balls, Prisoners of the Sun, Land of Black Gold. And look, before the Russians, before the Americans ever went to the moon, guess who was there first? Yep, Tintin, Captain, Snowy, the Thompson Twins. Yep, you know the band from the 80s, the Thompson Twins? Those were named after characters in the Tintin novel. So we have the Red Sea Sharks, Tintin in Tibet, the Castafiore Emerald, Flight 714, and Tintin and the Picaros. And there was actually one more book called Tintin auf Art, which was unfinished when Hergé died. So you can actually buy that album, and that is the only one that I am missing from the collection, just because I really don't care for that one, because it was unfinished, and I think it was put together without Hergé's approval, and I'm just not into that one for some reason. Now this one here, as you can see, and as I mentioned before, not politically correct. They portray Africans in a very stereotypical way. Times were different back then. And, there's no excuse for this today, but back then, look at this guy. You would never see that today. And, you really shouldn't, because, that's not what Africans look like. This is a total stereotype. And this book actually, as you can see, is in Spanish. They never actually made it into English, to the best of my knowledge, because it wasn't politically correct, even back then. So this is kind of a rare version to own this. And you can see all the names of the albums that I just showed you here. They are in Spanish. Tintin novels have been translated into all languages around the world. And unlike America, most countries of the world are very big fans of these books. This one here is was a movie, and I actually have that movie on a DVD collection, which I forgot to pull out. But anyway, happy birthday, Tintin! And I just wanted to show everybody my collection, and I even have the film, the DVD that came out a few years ago, and I am very thankful that a good friend gave me a special present from the film. So thank you to Kathleen Palmer. She gave me this hat, and as you can see, it is an official hat. This is Columbia Pictures, Amblin Entertainment, Wingnut Films, Nickelodeon, Paramount. Wingnut is Peter Jackson. Amblin is Steven Spielberg. So this is an official hat from production. And let's put that on here so you can see what it looks like. And these shirts, I probably will be putting these on today. So when I go out and about, and I can't wear both of them, but this shirt is actually my wife's, and this one is mine. But she said I could wear this one today for Tintin's birthday. So happy birthday, Tintin! I wish you all the best. You sure do look good for 91 years old. So cheers to you, and bon anniversaire, happy birthday, And thank you from the bottom of my heart for being with me all these years since 1975, when I first discovered you in the library as a child. Thank goodness to the West End Library branch of the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh for having these books. And otherwise, I would have never discovered it. Oh, and I also wanted to mention, ever since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, when I read that Tintin went to Petra in one of these books. Matter of fact, I have a bookmark here. This here is the episode where Tintin goes to Petra. We have arrived, and here's a picture of Petra, back what it looked like when it was first discovered in the 1800s by a Swiss explorer who actually snuck into the lands of the Bedouin who own these lands, and it was a lost treasure until it was refound. So thankfully I have been to Petra myself, and it was all because of Tintin and maybe a little bit of Indiana Jones. And as you can tell, Indiana Jones was a Steven Spielberg movie as well. And so Tintin and Peter Jackson, they were all heavily influenced by Tintin. And now we're going to close with something that is not Tintin. This is a book. Now, this was the back cover of all the albums when I was a child. And when I would read the Tintin albums, I was, this represents the Shooting Star. These are the Thompson twins. This is Professor Calculus, Captain Haddock, Snowy. You can see there are little clues from all the different novels hidden throughout. And right here, that's the Black Island. And these people here, I never knew who they were. There's like, who in the heck are they? They've never been in any Tintin albums. Well, that's because I didn't know at the time that Hergé did other projects besides Tintin. So as you can see, very same. I mean, this almost looks like Tintin. But these are the adventures of Joe, Zetty, and Jocko by the creator of Tintin, Hergé. So that is who these people are, and that's who these little mischief makers here are. I think that they're in this same book. So anyway, that is all I'm going to talk about today, because this is already going over 13 minutes. So once again, happy birthday to you, Tintin. Happy 91st. Cheers to you, my friend. May you have many more adventures.